Hey everyone, Bran here. Today I'm going to give you an update on the container garden. We'll also take a look at some new plant purchases, and some of these may help reduce your chances of getting bitten by mosquitoes this summer. I'll also show you the bunches of flowers I put together for my small backyard cut flower business. So please just sit back, relax for a few minutes and let's get into it now. This week I made a start on freshening up the container garden. I did this by adding some more potted colour like these Marigos, some Agastache, Calibracola. Here's the tag just in case I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And then I've got these Mandavillas. I've never grown this plant before, so I've got a lot of learning to do to make sure I look after it properly. I was drawn to it because it said it was good to grow in containers, although if you take a look at the tag here, it can get quite large too. I'm just assuming that's if you put it in the ground, it can get 2 meters high and up to 1 meter in width. I also like the fact that it's Australian bred, so it is grown to be able to withstand our weather conditions. Hopefully now I'll get this growing nice and strong, and next year I may put it in the ground once we finish the renovations. It could be a lovely shrub to put in just near the back of the extension. And then for something a little bit airy or fluffy, I've got this Euphoria White. I have grown this plant before, but I made the mistake of not protecting it from the frost over winter. That plant ended up dying off on me. But I'm hoping now with a little bit more experience I'll be able to overwinter this one and get some of these gorgeous airy blooms next season. As you can see there, I did spend a bit of money on rejuvenating this small space garden, but I felt like I deserved it. Is that alright to say? Why do I feel bad saying that? You know, I worked hard with the flowers. I've sold out for 3 weeks in a row, and I thought, why not put some money back into the garden, which makes me happy. And ultimately that's why I've got this small business, so that it can help support or sustain my hobby that I love so much. Another task I made a start on to tidy up this space was pruning existing plants. Like here, for example, with this tomato plant, it was very bushy, and what I did was I removed a lot of the foliage because the tomato fruit themselves had already set. They just weren't getting a lot of sunlight because the leaves were blocking it out and shading them. So I gave it a decent prune. Still have a bit more to go because there's a few dead or dying branches and leaves on here. But since I've done that job, I noticed the fruit are really starting to colour up, and really most of these are ready to harvest. I haven't tidied up this pickling cucumber plant yet. I need to remove some of this diseased looking foliage, but there are still flowers on this plant with quite a number of little baby cucumbers that are growing nicely. The pot of basil is beginning to form some flower buds. I haven't decided whether I'm going to remove them yet. I love basil flowers, they're so pretty, but the thing is, once these plants start to flower, the production of the foliage begins to decrease. So I really don't know what to do yet with these. But because I've got multiple plants here in this pot, I may just allow a couple of them to go to flower, like leave these flower buds on them, and then with the other ones I'll give them a bit of a prune back, so I can have the best of both worlds. This container is full of Dwarf Zenyas. I do have a few blooms that are spent which need to be removed. This one has gone well over. I should have removed that a long time ago. Actually, I may possibly even be able to save some seeds. Oh yeah, I can see a few in here. There's one by itself. Now ideally, a bit like the basil, I shouldn't be letting those plants form seeds yet. So on the weekend I'll come in and tidy this plant up. I'm so pleased I grew these this season because I've learned a lot about these Dwarf Zenyas. One main thing being that they are extremely drought tolerant. Out of all the containers in this small space, these flowers, these plants are the ones that were the least likely to droop if I missed watering for a couple of days. They still looked lovely and healthy. The foliage was super perky. I'm thinking these are an absolute awesome one to grow in containers, and look what I see in there. It's a flea beetle. Do you see them? Oh, they're still about. I also need to deadhead the Marigos. This flower has probably died off over the last couple of days, but if you take a look in here, it's still quite green. Now, if I was to pick this, oh well, I've just done that, and try and save the seeds in there, in my experience, they wouldn't do too well because they haven't had a chance to mature and dry out, brown out fully. This bullhorn chili is looking good. No sign of fruit fly, which is amazing. It is starting to shrivel up slightly. I may have left it on the plant a bit too long, but I like it there. I like the colour of it. There's some fruit setting on these strawberry plants. The eggplants are an absolute disaster. Oh, look, there's another flea beetle. You know what? I think I said it before that I was going to remove these, and I still haven't done it yet. I don't know why, because it's just making the whole area look ugly. But this plant needs to come out, as does this one here, and my third eggplant. It's just like a twig now. I don't know why I've left it in here. I have to take it out. Jeez, I have to. I'd say overall this garden is looking pretty nice. It just needs a few more tweaks, but it's getting there. I do have 3 more new plant purchases to show you, which I picked up this morning at Carnivore Garden Centre when I dropped my flowers off. They are all carnivorous. So the first one is Sundew Venus flytrap, and then there's this one, a fly and a wasp eater. I'm sure it has a proper botanical name, there you go, that I definitely, well, I don't think I'm gonna even attempt to pronounce it, but this one's really awesome. Now the thing is with these 3 plants, I'm a bit nervous because we have had the Venus flytrap before, and you know, I haven't done very well. I wasn't a good plant mom and I killed them, so I was trying to get lots of tips from Sylvie and Steve when I picked these up. These were definitely an impulse purchase. I'm hoping that I take good care of them. We'll see. But oh my goodness, I couldn't believe the amount of new plants I had down there at Carnivore Garden Centre. It was amazing. Lots of really unusual stuff like this. And they even had a couple of containers with a mix of more mature, oh, I've just dropped one, mature carnivorous plants. Oh, I've only had them like a couple hours. Oh, it's all right. Since I'm down here, I want to show you something. This belongs to a passion fruit plant that I put in a few years back, and the suckers pop up everywhere. The original plant went in maybe 2 or 3 meters away, and this is coming up through the concrete. Like, can you believe that? So it's food for thought when you're considering purchasing a passion fruit. You just need to be really careful what variety you pick, because this has just been so annoying to try and get rid of, and I'm still battling it years later. I hardly know anything about carnivorous plants, but Sylvie was telling me that with this one here, what happens is the flies or mosquitoes come along and they get stuck on this part, and then the plant, I guess, just digests it up. This one is one of the more common fly traps that you would see, where you just brush along the top here and then it closes up. Let's try on this one. So pretend this is a little fly coming in. You just sweep across like that, and this here he is, or it should just like close up. I don't know why it's not closing. It's probably something I'm doing. Maybe this plant's too smart and he knows that this is not a fly. And then with this one here, the fly comes in, is attracted to this area, falls down and gets digested by the plant. I think my kids are going to like seeing these when they come home from school. I know one of them had already purchased a Venus flytrap in the past, but it didn't do too well, so I may give this one to him. I can imagine this sundew is a really great plant to have if you deal with a lot of mosquitoes, especially, you know, when you're out on the back porch on a hot summer's afternoon. This is, I guess, like an eco alternative to using any sprays or other types of chemicals to try and get rid of the mozzies. We had some ferocious weather this week. I can't remember exactly what day it was. It was earlier on, maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I was woken up at around 3:30 a.m. in the morning by this enormous sound. It was like a freight train. The rain was pelting down on the roof. It was extremely heavy. I think it was like a weather cell or something like that had come down from up north from Queensland. They had cyclone there and we got the tail end of it. And yes, I was very nervous that the flowers were going to be damaged, and you know what, I was pleasantly surprised. They seem to be all right. Oh, this is a little bug. No matter how much I shake out the flowers after I harvest them, I always seem to have some little bugs hidden amongst the foliage and the petals. Anyway, it was a good week again, as I had mentioned a bit earlier on with the flowers. I sold out, which I was delighted with. I think even when I was dropping the flowers off this morning, the garden centre was busy, so that's always nice to see. And you know what else I really love? When I drop them off and a customer, one of their customers, makes a compliment. It's really nice to hear that, because I think I doubt myself sometimes that they're not good enough. I've got imposter syndrome. Anyway, yeah, flowers sold, so that's good news. We've only got a couple of weeks left now until summer is finished, and I think that will mean by that stage I will have been selling the flowers for 13 weeks, which is quite a long time, and I'm really happy with that achievement this season. Well, that's about it for this week. I'm just laughing to myself because I have all of this footage of me trying to capture the butterflies on these flowers. Every time I went over to them, they flew away. I kept on missing them, but geez, we have some beautiful butterflies in the garden at the moment. I've got no idea what type they are, their names, but anyway, I really appreciate them. Maybe next Friday I'll have a bit of footage of them. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. I just saw a wasp. Give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new here. Thank you for your support. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you again next Friday.